watch says we're a couple minutes past 6:30. And I'm going to call this meeting to order. And we will proceed with the invocation. Please rise. Our Heavenly Father, we ask that you guide and lead this board in its deliberations. We ask you that you look over our city, give us the courage and the strength and the wisdom and knowledge to make effective decisions of the people who live in our community. Help us to recognize all of the citizens in our community and make sure that we are doing the best we can for each person that we serve. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I have a bad allergy problem, so if I cough or something, I'm sorry. That's where we are. Anyone wish to make a statement before we start?
Mr. Chairman, I do. As a matter of record, if we could state that it was brought to my attention that when you have more than one meeting in a month, we should have called this as a special meeting. So that we can indicate that this should have been a special meeting because we had another meeting earlier this month. So
Okay.
you make note of that. If you have another meeting, have a special meeting.
Okay. This is a special meeting. Okay. Let's see, where is it? That's not it. We have a new board member, Kelly Amaro. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kelly Amaro. I lived here all my life. I'm 44 years old. I have 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. And this is my husband with Edo Amaro. We own Amaro Collision Center here in Floresville.
And I understand I was your teacher
Yes.
at one time,
Yes.
many years ago. Okay. I didn't remember that when, just by your name, I didn't catch that. We have a training session on April the 30th, 2015, that is on the Texas Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act. It is required that we attend that or get the training.
Correct.
It's not necessarily that you have to be at that meeting, but we do need to have a certificate for you on file.
Yes, sir.
You can, I believe you can do it on your computer.
Yes, you can go online if you're not able to make this meeting. The city secretary, Monica Cordova, can give you those instructions of getting online and printing out your certificate if you're unable to make the meeting on the 30th. But historically, the council has been meeting together, encouraging more people to get, it's a 2-hour session, just to let you know, 1 hour for each one.
Right.
And then, what time does that start?
It starts at 6:30.
I believe that's a Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
Okay. On May the 6th, we have a workshop with the city council on the bond restructuring.
Yes, sir. This is to follow up from the last meeting that we had in reference to the restructuring of the bonds for the 2010 bonds. They're going to be for the 2015 bonds. At the last city council meeting, the council approved Mr. Kyoga from Frost Bank and Fulbright and Associates, Jeff Kuhn, to represent the city on this restructuring of the bonds. As you know, 4A is a part of that, and so we're having a joint workshop. We're not taking any action, they're just going to be presenting. I think some of the numbers were not necessarily what they needed them to be for the last presentation, so he's coming back again. Frost Bank, Mr. Kruger, to talk about restructuring and bringing back some options as to how we're going to move forward with the restructuring. For a time frame, they're looking at having the restructuring and the city council approval sometime in May, for them to go out and do the bonding and closing this deal sometime in early June to late June, sometime in June.
Okay.
That's the hope, but we will see. So we want to invite the 4A board, and congratulations on having a full board to move forward. So I wanted to bring that to your attention of that date. 6:30 again in this room on May 6th.
Okay. We are in the process of or doing a makeover on the and repairs to the event center, and I passed out Ms. Turner prepared a presentation on that. Would you like to go through that?
Yes. Just for some of the members that are new, so please forgive me if I'm repeating myself. The city of Floresville, in conjunction with the 4A board, has approved for M&S which is one of our engineers, to go through. Now, you understand that there was a lawsuit and we received the funding in reference to that. So that's what this funding is for. So he's gone through some of the items. So he's done, and Gloria's here as well. So when we talk about that with staff, it's been Gloria. So they did some site visits. So they've been up to the site numerous times. We had some issues with the roof. Some of the rooms were not able to use because of the water damage and some mold that was there. So they met with the operator. They reviewed some the reports and the capital report. They summarized our letter report on December 16th of 2014. So some of the things we had to list them because we only have so much money. So we had to list them, and I believe, how much was that, like 200 and, how much was it? Let's see.
And for the lawsuit,
Yes.
$895,000.
$895,000, okay. So we had him to look at some of the priorities, and you can see them here. I don't have to read it for you, you can take these with you. But these are some of the priorities. As you see, the roof is definitely a priority. At first, they thought that they could actually fix part of it, but they're gonna have to they can't do patch, they have to really replace it. The other thing that Lori's been having a hard time with is the HVAC control system. So that's one of the key things, as you know, that will cause the mold to grow and to be able to control that. Building leakage, flashing and gutter, getting the water away from the building, all these things are the top priority. So that's what we're gonna have to focus on. If you see, they're saying that 1 through 7 can be executed with the $875,000, including the engineering fee. So that's what the priorities are for the growth, okay? Mr. Gleason, your chairman, and I have talked for some time to say we need to take this approach so that we want to make sure everything is going forward, that everything is above board, that we have someone that is going to write the specifications to fix the problem, and then be able to monitor the construction phase of it as well. So we're hoping that we can take care of all these things within the 875. But as you see, there are a total, and he's calling future, there are some future issues that the city will have to look at budgeting for future expansions to take care of items 8 through 12.
I'd like to inject here. One of the things that Ms. Turner and I had discussed earlier was that we hired an engineering firm to help us with this, because while there was mountains of information off the lawsuit in terms of technical data, we needed someone to tell us exactly how to interpret that and move forward with the repairs. We didn't want to repair this and then have to find out we had to take that apart to come back and repair something else. So it was important that we do it in the right order and with proper supervision. And that's why we went to the engineering firm.
Yeah, he wants to talk about the roof. As you can see, it looks really nice, but you can see when you have some up close, there's some holes and why it's leaking. Roy's experienced, and actually you can imagine after the 2 rains on Fridays that we've experienced, that there's leakage coming in, and sometimes it can be raining outside and we don't get any water, and then hours later it comes in because it finds its lowest expense. So these are some of the holes that he's pointing out of some of the things. And if you have a construction background, as you know, you look at the HVAC unit on top, anytime you penetrate that roof, you're gonna have leakage. And so that is important that they actually do those kind of things. So that's what he's speaking to when he's speaking to the metal roof edge and the flashing, the goes and leaks. It's all because of what's happening. If you look through there, he's got some pictures of things that they definitely want to take care of and where some of the damage happened. Even to, they address some of the landscaping that's closest to the building, we need to do some things differently so that it won't create that standing water issue that we're having, if you see, is in front of the doors. And things such as, you can see by the window, some of the missionary work needs to be addressed. So as we look at prioritizing things, it's all about, stop the water from entering the building. As you know, that is not what we need. That building won't stand. So they're gonna do the roof, they need to do metal roof repairs, because there's several roofs there, and then they need to do wall repairs in reference to that. They need to get the HVAC system to work. It's supposed to be a smart system, so we're gonna make sure that it's smart. But the thing that we're gonna do different is we're gonna make sure that cross-training between staff in reference to how to run this system itself. It's a smart system. It turns off all kind of alarms and things such as that, but not everybody's trained with that. And we're actually going to incur the cost of having an extra set of manuals, so we can have one here at City Hall and one there at the center.
It's also a system that, it's operated by a computer. You can do it remotely from your home. You're the one that's responsible for it. But it takes a great deal of training. I mean, you just don't go and say, turn the air conditioner on. It doesn't do that. It has zones. It was built for zone control of the temperature. And it has many things that you have to plug in and program. You just don't go push the switch and say, it's on. So it takes some education in doing it. I went through it once and I couldn't do it again if I had to.
But that's why we want to train more than one staff member to do it. I know Alex was really familiar with it, and then he moved to another department, and then he wasn't. And so, excuse me, we want to make sure that we have more than one person trained to run this, and then come out and train periodically so we can make sure the system's coming. But they were out the other day, and so one of the things we definitely have to do is to restore that HVAC system to working properly. Excuse me, we need to help the water exit the building. Some of the site drainage we're having problems with, and remediate mold in the rooms and the walk-in closet. And I think Gloria told me that actually even some things in the ticket booth area need to be addressed. They're having some ceiling tiles that are really wet and damaged.
One thing we filled out this weekend.
So these are the things they want to procure or contractor. Now, with the HVAC system, as you can imagine, with that new system, it's a specialized system, so we're having the company itself to come out and to do that, but they're getting these people, that's what they plan on doing. And what they want to do is have a competitive seal bid proposals. We just don't want to go out to the lowest bidder, because sometimes you get what you pay for. But also, this building needs to operate in the midst of the construction phase. We just can't shut it down for that time. And so in doing that, we want to make sure that we have a contractor who's sensitive to that, can tape off the different areas so that when the children are over there playing in the gym, they're not going to get dust, construction paint, and things like that. So that's why it's going to be qualified and reference to do that. And if nothing else, because of the lawsuit, we want to make sure that everybody's work is up to standards and reference to that, because we're gonna have a hard time coming back suing a second time in this building. Do you agree? So we want to make sure, as you see, HVAC system is so important that it works, it operates on a lot of things. It has to be tested and balanced because it's been out of balance for so long, and they're having to do, you're right, it was built on zones, but initially, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this was supposed to be cut up into different areas, the ballroom, but they changed the construction to be one big open room. And so,
And when they did that.
they
it-
didn't
that
change the
destroyed
HVAC system though.
Right, but they did change the extinguisher system. And so we can't go back and put new dividers in without changing the sprinkler system.
So, yeah, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is because we have so many units on top of this building because it was built for the zones, to remove some of the smaller ones, make them larger, bigger ones, so you won't have as many holes punched into the roof. And so it's gonna be a whole new system so that it can work a lot better, and like I said, regulate the air a lot better. Because as anybody knows, you don't want a room freezing so much that you have condensation on the walls. Well, it does have that, and then you go to other parts of the building and it's sweating. And so as we're trying to operate this, we need to be able to have them to balance it.
And the gym is critical because of that floor.
Right.
And that floor can't sweat. And so, well, it can, but we don't want it to because it'll start buckling and problems like that. So we've got to be extremely careful.
So that's why it was really key for us to get our engineering firm like M&S to be able to come in, to tell us what our priorities were, to read through, and it was actually about 6 boxes of stuff that he had to read through to get the original drawings to say, this is what you need to do, have a good price, and then we're gonna go out to bid. If you look at the next schedule, it talks about March through June, so come this June, he should come up with the design of what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, award them sometime in July to August, and then the repairs will take 6 months to do it. And as you notice, he said no impact to the event scheduling, and even when they come to visit, they always let Gloria know they're coming, they've been very courteous, and they're willing to work weekends and nights, or to work all during the week and not work on the weekend. So that's where we are. And he presented this to the council, and at your last meeting, you wanted to have an update, and this is for you to have. He presented this in January. Yeah, they did the study for the city, the 5-year comprehensive plan for the study, and they're working on our water, so yes. I think he's got the engineer here, Tom Turk is out of, what's that, close to us, Bernie, around that area. Yes.
And one thing that we were very worried about was having to close the center during the times that we were doing this. From my information that I've gathered, we came very close to breaking even last year with the center, within a dollar amount, relative to what we have in the past. And I think we were within 9,000 or so
Yes, sir.
of making break-even propositions. So that shows that we're definitely making progress, and that if we had to shut things down to do that, then that's going to impact our income. And so we were trying to avoid having to do that. And with this, working with this engineering firm and working with the contractors, we believe we're going to be able to continue without having to close the center or turn down bookings, which is very, very important to us. Thank you, Ms. Turner. Is there anything else that you would like? Gloria, is there anything that you would like to mention?
No, it's just, I've been working, like Ms. Turner says, with all these people. They've been real good about working with me. And in fact, I've had them all last week and I've had them today, and they're just rolling along.
Does any of the board have anything they'd like to ask? And I want to stress to you, you're welcome at any time to go out there. Gloria will work with you and show you exactly what you're talking about. Now, she's not going to go up on the roof with you.
No.
But
Gloria, no roof.
I don't think
No
so.
roof.
But she will be glad to, at any time. She's taken me many times and shown me things that she felt like needed to be repaired or addressed. And if you have any questions, you're a board member, and any citizen, as far as I know, can go out there and see what we're talking about. And I invite you to do that. I invite you to spend some time at the center. It's a real, it's a learning experience. I've been teaching first grade I taught first grade Friday, and that was a real learning experience to me after all the years I spent teaching. I still had no idea what I was getting into. But it's, I would encourage you to go out to the center and see and she can explain to you some of the good things that are happening, also some of the problems that we have. And Ms. Turner has been a great source of information to me, and I can call her and ask her what's going on, and she gives me up-to-date information I feel comfortable with. So as far as the board's concerned, I invite you to do that.
And we really are excited that we're moving forward, that we can get this wonderful facility up and running. And it's a baby building, I think it's over 3 to 5 years old. It shouldn't be leaking like it is. But we're going to make those repairs, get it going, and use that money. And I do want to champion that the board did go after them, because once our engineers saw it, they said there were some serious issues in reference to the construction of the building that caused this problem. But we should be able to fix the majority of them.
And anyway, I would like to commend the people who were on the board back in those days that saw the problems and kind of started to address them. Okay, I'm going to move to new business. Consideration and action request for qualifications to hire an attorney. Our board has always had an attorney. We had one in until I think October of this past year, and Ron Killen was or Rob Killen of Killen and Killen was our attorney. Rob did a good job for us. He handled a lot of things during the lawsuit. Although he wasn't the primary attorney for that, he did help us with finding competent counsel and stuff like that for that. Mr. Killen left in November, and we have not had really a full board to come back and address the issue of hiring a replacement for Mr. Killen. And we are going into a phase where we're going to be looking at a lease agreement, and we're going to be looking at the bond situation. And I believe it's time that we have one to advise us now. Did you get a copy of the lease agreement?
No, but I'll make sure the money gets her one.
Give her, well, I think here, I've got this one, she can have that,
I'm sorry.
and I'll get another. That is one that was written up by the city's attorney, Mr. Rosenberg. And I have the greatest respect for Mr. Rosenberg. We've been friends for a long time. However, his job is to represent the city. And there are some items in there that we're concerned about. And I think we need, before we go into the lease in great detail, we need to have an attorney look at it from our point of view and represent us, and maybe make some contact with Mr. Rosenberg on things that might need to be looked at from our perspective. That's a great lease for the city of Floresville as far as the city goes, but it does not necessarily address all of the concerns that we as a board might have. So do I have any suggestions on how we go about this?
Well, Mr. Wilson, actually, I spoke to Lou Rosenberg, the city attorney, today, and let him know this agenda item. He says we can do it one of two ways. You can invite somebody to represent to you the qualifications, to invite somebody to do that, or you can place an advertising in the newspaper. My only issue about advertising newspaper, it takes so much time, and you really need him to probably hear the presentation on May 6th. So Lou said because of the type of attorney, it is a specialized, you don't necessarily have to bid, or you can just interview anybody. We can invite people to come and present their qualifications to you. He is going to let some of people who work in this area to do so, probably about the same fee that you all had budgeted for, which is about a retainer. You have an attorney on retainer for about $2,000 a month, is that right, Mr. Wilson? So that's already been budgeted there, and actually, we haven't expected any money this fiscal year at all for an attorney, so there's money there. But the retainer traditionally was $2,000 a month. So he said he's going to contact some people and to have them to submit their qualifications to the city secretary, who can pass them on to you, of anybody who's interested. It's kind of like word of mouth kind of thing, because it's a specialty, because, you know, sometimes it's like hot and heavy, and then it slows down, and so we want to make sure that somebody can be there, but also to accommodate to attend your meetings as well. Okay, so your attorney will get here. Traditionally, Mr. Killen did all the agenda and took the minutes
He
and
did
things such as that.
This secretary did prepared our agendas for us and knew what we needed to talk about, what we needed to discuss, and what we had to handle the agenda. She did a lot of stuff for us, and then Rob was here on most of our meetings to give us his counsel.
So your attorney was usually here and helped the chairman run the meetings, and so that's an opportunity for you to talk to him, to ask him any questions, with it running from the lease to restructuring to even how we're gonna move forward with anything. Your attorney was here. And so we need somebody who's gonna be local, who's gonna spend that kind of time in the evening to come and do that.
Yeah, Mr. Killen, I think one of the main reasons he left us was that he's from San Antonio and he was having to drive down here. And sometimes he would get here and we wouldn't have a quorum, or he'd get here and, you know, there'd be a whole different issue that he'd have to address and things like that. So I think that was,
do you think he would come back with
I think
with this on the table? Do you think he would
I
come
will
back?
certainly call him. I have great respect for him. But I don't know that he will. His practice is growing. And I'm just speaking off
Right.
the knowledge that I know of him. His wife's also an attorney. She also represented us. And they have a toddler in the home now. And she's staying home. And I think he ended up with a lot of things on his plate. But he was a good man, and I'm certainly would plan to ask him if he knows anybody that would.
Yeah, maybe he can recommend somebody.
I mean, because once we pass this, it's, I mean, like we said,
Yeah.
we're just gonna be a transfer agent for the debt. I mean, we're pretty much out of the picture.
There's some things, I mean, this is still gonna be part of what you can do, the lease is important,
Right,
but
right.
the most important thing is definitely the restructuring that you have to do. This a lot.
Right.
In reference to, and I believe it's somewhere about $8 to $8.5 million that you need to have somebody, and the 4A is a partner to that, because it'd be the city and the 4A are both part of this transaction, which is why we're asking everybody to come to the workshop. So because of the short turnaround time that we have, you know, it'd be nice to put things in paper, but you don't have that kind of time, you know.
And we didn't put one in for Mr. Killen. He was hired on a recommendation from someone else, I think.
Yes.
That's why I asked if he would come back. I mean, meaning.
I will certainly
That's
talk
why
to him.
Come back or invite,
Or-
or if you know somebody who
yeah,
can.
He might
Yeah.
know someone who
Yeah.
he works with. So, but anyway, that's where we are with that. And so I suppose where we are is that we will wait for Mr. Rosenberg, and I'll call Mr. Killen and see if we can get some names. And then we'll kind of look over some recommendations, have several people visit us maybe, if they would like to come. Does that sound agreeable with the rest of the?
I mean, he doesn't have to be here for the May 6th meeting, just like we provided this one, if you couldn't mind, Ms. Moore, show them, just hold up the presentation. Frost Bank is gonna pass out something like that, so if you hire an attorney after the presentation or whatever, all the stuff will be in the presentation, and that'll be, you know, you'll have one to take with you.
This is what was wrong.
Yeah, so that'll be there, and then they can once he's your attorney, he's representing you, then he can contact him. But
This sales tax trend
Yes.
was wrong.
Yeah. So the sooner the better that you hire one, it's okay, but if we don't make the 6th, it's okay, but we need to hire one, but sooner, but they'll be providing that information that you can share with the attorney, and then I'm quite sure that Victor Girl will bring him up to speed as soon as possible. And then the other attorney is Jeff Kuhn, if I said his name correctly, from Fulbright and Associates. So is that what you all have to take a vote on that action, sir?
Yes. Would someone like to make a motion as to how we're going to proceed on this?
I make a motion that we wait to hear back from Lou Rosenberg as well as you contact Mr. Glenn. See if we can go from
Okay. Someone second that?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Flores, second by Moore. Any discussion? Okay, then I'll come to a vote. All those in favor of proceeding, or proceeding in the manner of waiting for a recommendation from Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Killen, and then having him come in for an interview or to meet with the board. All those in favor of that, please say aye.
there. Aye.
Anyone opposed to that? Okay. And that's the way we'll proceed. That was 4-0. Okay. So the next thing we have coming up is the training on the 30th.
Yes, sir. In the workshop on the 6th. One other question, if I may, Mr. Chairman. We've gotten out of the habit of when you normally meet, was it the first Monday of the month you all normally met?
We had normally met on the 3rd.
The third Monday.
And I would like to go ahead and reset that as the meeting time if we can. It got to where we could only meet when we could get a quorum together. I would like to thank and anticipate thanking you for being here. It's great to have a full board.
So pending any special meetings that you may call, we're going to set the meeting for the third Monday of the month. I don't have my what's my May count?
There is the 18th.
18th. Okay. So we know you'll have a meeting on the 18th.
I will only call them, normally I only call a meeting if there's something we have to get out of the way and get started. I don't like to have meetings where we sit around and just stare at each other while we do. But I think during the construction phase or the repair phase and this bond thing, we're probably going to have some special meetings that we need to address. That would be my anticipation. So our next meeting, regular meeting, is on the 18th of May. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn then, if we have, I think we've concluded our agenda for this evening?
I make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Do I have a second? Second, motion by Flores, second by Moore, to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 7:07.
Thanks again, Mr. Clark, appreciate it.